Welcome to this explainer. I'm your host, and today, well, we're talking directly to you, high achievers out there, to the stressed parents, and honestly, to anyone who feels like they are just running on empty right now. We're going to investigate a modern medical mystery. You know that frustrating, heavy state that leaves you feeling chronically depleted, even when your doctor says all your lab tests are perfectly normal? Yeah, that one. We're talking about the hidden creep of burnout.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked into a room and just completely forgotten why you even went in there? Or maybe you've been feeling like your body is kind of failing you, plagued by sudden muscle tension, weird digestive issues, or a brain fog so incredibly thick that you find yourself rereading the exact same email 4 times. If any of this sounds familiar, it forces a really tough question. Are you just tired? Are you sick? Or are you actually burned out? Okay, so let's draw a hard line here because there is a fundamental difference between just being tired and being truly burned out. Everyday tiredness, that's a temporary blip. It's a state that completely bounces back with a good night's sleep or, say, a relaxing weekend off. But burnout? Burnout is a persistent, unshakable pattern. It's what happens when the demands of your life outrun your internal resources for so long that you literally stop recognizing yourself. A nap isn't going to fix this. To really understand how severe this can get, let's look at a real-world example straight from the medical literature. Take Larry. He was a highly successful 28-year-old executive. Larry happily worked 60 to 80-hour weeks. I mean, he thought he was just tired and pushing through, right? Well, that was until the day he literally collapsed at the door to his apartment. He had severe vertigo, a racing heart. He honestly thought he was having a stroke. But at the hospital, the diagnosis was totally different. It was severe burnout syndrome. Basically, he was a victim of unmanaged chronic stress that had completely short-circuited his system.
So what's actually happening underneath the surface in cases like Larry's? Well, it's deeply physiological. When you're under chronic stress, it severely dysregulates your HPA axis, and that's basically your body's central stress response system. Because your brain perceives this constant, never-ending threat, it blunts its normal hormonal rhythms. Your cortisol just flatlines. Your mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, they essentially burn out. In simple terms, your body can literally no longer generate energy efficiently. It is not a lack of willpower, guys. It's a profound systemic energy crisis.
And honestly, this perfectly explains why burnout mimics serious illnesses. When you're dealing with that persistent fatigue, you're looking right at that mitochondrial burnout we just talked about. If you've got sleep disturbances, feeling wired but tired at 2 a.m., that's your sympathetic nervous system stuck in total overdrive. Unexplained muscle pain, that's just your body braced in constant tension, physically guarding against a perceived threat. And those random digestive issues or leaky gut, that happens because prolonged stress actually suppresses your parasympathetic nervous system, effectively shutting down your digestion. It is no wonder people go to the doctor for these things separately, completely missing that they all stem from one single root cause. Now, long before your body collapses, your mind is usually trying to warn you. Psychologists point to 3 surprising early warning signs you really need to watch for. Number 1, cognitive fog. That frustrating memory loss and an absolute inability to focus on even the simplest of tasks. Number 2 is emotional numbness. You might smile when you're expected to, but inside, you're entirely detached, just going through the motions. And the third one is increased cynicism. It's like this creeping wall of negativity where suddenly everything just feels completely pointless. There's actually a specific insight that captures this feeling perfectly. It says, burnout isn't just about feeling exhausted. It's about feeling like you've lost a part of yourself. That emotional blunting we just looked at, that's actually a defense mechanism. Your brain is so overwhelmed by stress that it shuts down your emotional responses just to protect you. But the tragedy is, in doing so, it slowly strips away your joy and your connection until life loses all its vibrancy and just becomes entirely mechanical. Psychologist Herbert Freudenberger actually mapped out how this builds over time. And it's wild, because it starts so innocently, often just as this grim determination to prove yourself. But fast forward a few months, and you're skipping sleep, you're neglecting your personal needs, and you're probably convincing yourself that it's just heroic performance, right? By 9 months, that emotional blunting and social withdrawal really set in. And if left unchecked, it quietly, almost invisibly, creeps right toward a total mental and physical collapse. Now, we so often associate this strictly with corporate executives working 80-hour weeks. But this isn't just happening at the office. Get this, an estimated 5 to 8% of parents in Western countries suffer from a very distinct, measurable state known as parental burnout. That is a massive number of people. We are talking about millions of individuals dealing with an intense, daily pressure cooker right inside their own homes. And this reveals a profound, hidden internal conflict. It's the incredibly jarring reality of extreme exhaustion coexisting with deep, unconditional love. When parents burn out, they very often resort to a silent emotional distancing. It's just to protect whatever tiny bit of energy they have left. But because they love their kids so much, this distancing hides under thick, heavy layers of profound parental guilt. And unfortunately, that guilt usually prevents them from asking for the help they desperately need.
So researchers have actually identified 4 measurable signs that you've crossed that line from just being a tired parent to a burned out one. First, there's exhaustion specifically tied to your parenting role. Second, a stark contrast with your previous parental self, basically feeling like a complete stranger to the patient, warm parent you used to be. Third, feeling entirely fed up and resenting the duties of the role. And finally, fourth, emotional distancing. This is where you realize you're merely managing your child's schedule and tasks rather than actually connecting with them.
Whether it's happening in the boardroom or the living room, the damage from all this chronic stress results in a severe cognitive toll. Burnout heavily impairs your executive functions, your attention, and your working memory. But, okay, here is the highly optimistic scientific twist. Clinical trials, like a major one currently being conducted by Erasmus University, prove that these exact impacted brain areas are highly responsive to neuroplasticity, meaning your brain can heal. This cognitive decline, it absolutely does not have to be permanent.
So how do we fix it? Well, to move from just surviving back to thriving, you cannot just try to push through. Actually, scratch that. Pushing harder is exactly what got you here in the first place. You must pull back. The roadmap back requires 3 fundamental shifts. Step 1, you have to protect your energy and enforce firm boundaries. Step 2, utilize targeted cognitive training and mental exercises to actively restore your working memory and executive function. And step 3, consciously reconnect with meaning and small daily joys. You literally have to actively train your brain to feel pleasure again. You know, psychologists note that high achievers often have a master plan written way back in childhood. It's this deep belief that perfectionism and endless hard work are the absolutely only paths to success and love. But when that plan leads you straight into burnout, it's time for an update. Knowing that the true antidote to burnout isn't just taking a nap, but actually a restoration of energy, purpose, and emotional connection, the ultimate question I want to leave you with today is this. Are you ready to rewrite your master plan and finally start thriving? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. Take a breath, take a break, and I'll see you next time.